Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have a special connection with God, while others struggle to feel His presence? What if I told you that the secret might lie in something many ignore or practice the wrong way? Fasting is one of the oldest and most powerful ways to draw closer to God, but there's a crucial detail. There's a right way and a wrong way to fast. Imagine finding out that what you should never do during fasting could be the only thing blocking you from a deeper spirituality. In this video, we're going to explore what fasting truly means, how it impacts your faith, and what Jesus teaches about doing it the right way, ready to uncover what few know and many overlook. Is fasting just about abstaining from food? Maybe at its core, this practice is a direct invitation to draw closer to God in a deep, meaningful way. When someone fasts, they create a space to listen to what God has to say, pushing aside the distractions of daily life. Jesus taught that fasting should be a personal, almost secret act between the individual and God, with no need for public displays or speeches. Think of it as a silent dialogue, where each moment of hunger is a reminder of a higher purpose. Amid the rush of life, it's easy to lose spiritual connection, but fasting offers the opposite, a sacred pause. For those who want to experience this closeness, the idea is simple. Instead of announcing that they're fasting, they make it a private moment between them and God. It could start as a one-day decision to retreat for prayer, reflection, and even meditation, which can slowly become a transformative habit of faith. Here's a practical example. During fasting, why not choose a Bible verse to reflect on throughout the day? Imagine meditating on Psalm 23 while feeling hunger, seeing each word as spiritual nourishment. At that moment, fasting gains meaning and becomes not an empty sacrifice, but a direct bridge to a deeper understanding of God. And how does this affect faith? Well, let's dig a bit deeper. Have you ever considered how the great biblical leaders viewed fasting? Throughout the Bible, we see examples of prominent figures like the prophet Daniel and even Martin Luther, who used fasting to seek spiritual cleansing and a closer connection with God. For them, fasting was more than a mere practice. It was a way to better understand God's purpose in their lives. And, without a doubt, this practice continues to be interpreted uniquely across different Christian traditions, yet all share the same essence: to renew faith and dedication to what is spiritual. In the Old Testament, for instance, Daniel fasted when he sought wisdom and guidance, showing that fasting is a dialogue with God, where humility plays a significant role. This practice was a way to demonstrate to the Lord a total dependence, something many consider essential in the spiritual journey. Following this model, why not dedicate a fasting period to a specific prayer, something you truly seek to understand better? Like Daniel, this can be an opportunity to empty oneself of the world and fill oneself with the Word. And we can't overlook the modern relevance of this practice. Even today, in different Christian denominations, fasting is seen as a way to bring forth the spiritual essence. It reminds us that first and foremost, we are spiritual beings, and that the body responds to the Spirit's strength. Each time fasting is practiced, this biblical tradition is honored and renewed, always with the same focus: strengthening faith and deepening our understanding of the mission given by God. And what more can fasting reveal about our relationship with the sacred? What does it mean to truly depend on God? Fasting provides a unique opportunity to experience this question, offering space for a deeper reflection on our humility and spirituality. As someone fasts, they come to realize how the body, in its limitations, is strengthened by faith in God's presence. What might seem like sacrifice becomes an exercise in trust and surrender to the divine, something that reinforces the understanding of how much we depend on something greater than ourselves. Imagine beginning the day with a sincere moment of prayer, asking God for strength and understanding during the fasting period. This simple but powerful gesture can start a journey of spiritual growth. Throughout the day, hunger becomes a constant reminder of dependence on God, deepening the understanding of humility and surrender. And in the end, what seemed difficult was sustained by faith. This process is a spiritual practice that transcends the physical act of fasting and becomes an experience of renewal. This reflection on dependence also opens the door to true humility, the kind that acknowledges our limitations and seeks divine direction. In a world that values control and autonomy so much, fasting reminds us that it's in dependence on God that we find true freedom. And in practicing this, one question leads us further. What other areas of life need this surrender? After all, fasting is just the beginning of a journey of faith and deep spiritual connection. Jesus taught that fasting should be a private act, a bond between the soul and God, distant from others' eyes. When one fasts with this motivation, the act becomes a genuine demonstration of faith, free from vanity and expectations. This teaching from Jesus is an invitation for each person to develop a silent and pure commitment with God, focusing solely on the spiritual growth that fasting provides. By honoring this practice as something intimate, one finds a space to deepen their faith without needing external approval or validation. To fulfill this purpose, one need only keep their fasting as a personal treasure, an experience that nobody else needs to know about. This fasting, practiced with discretion, requires no explanations or announcements, becoming an authentic expression of faith. In this quiet surrender, the spirit is strengthened, and intentions naturally purify, revealing the true commitment of someone dedicated to God. Thus, fasting becomes an exercise in trust and surrender, where the sole focus is the Creator and the relationship built with Him. In times of constant exposure, fasting in secret not only strengthens the soul, but also teaches the value of cultivating a private and secure spiritual space. And there's an even deeper aspect this practice reveals: how fasting can broaden our love and compassion for others. Fasting, beyond a personal act of renunciation, can also be a way of solidarity and empathy. When someone decides to fast, they open a space to feel, even if briefly, what those in vulnerable situations face daily. This act of compassion and awareness brings us closer not only to God, but also to the reality of those living with scarcity. Fasting, in this sense, becomes a way to strengthen the commitment to justice and compassion, developing a heart more attentive to others' suffering. In practice, fasting with this thought in mind can inspire concrete actions of charity and support. For example, one could set aside the value of a meal and donate it to someone in need. This small but meaningful gesture reflects the essence of a fast that is not just spiritual, but also social. After all, true faith is manifested in caring for others, and fasting is a reminder of this, broadening our ability to look beyond ourselves. This approach teaches that fasting, beyond being a practice of self-discovery, is a commitment to the common good. By offering our deprivation as a prayer for the needy and as a call to justice, fasting transcends the personal realm and transforms lives. And so each person discovers that true devotion lies not only in words, but in concrete actions that reflect God's love within us. How to put this faith into practice? Well, the journey continues. Now, the real question is, are you ready to put into practice everything you've learned about fasting? Reflecting on the connection with God, the purpose of fasting, and what it represents for your faith is the first step. But is just knowing enough, or is it time to act and transform that knowledge into a real experience? As you begin this journey, ask yourself, what areas of my life need to be surrendered to God? Where can I be more humble and compassionate toward others? Fasting is an opportunity for renewal, for strengthening, and for encountering the divine, an experience that can transform your life. If you want to keep growing spiritually and deepening your knowledge, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content. That way, you'll always be in the loop on new lessons and reflections that can help you live a life more connected with faith and with the purpose God has for you.